is up, Division 2 agents? This is Gamer for Life back with another Division 2 video. In this one, I am going to go over the new master mission that we have, the United Ironworks General Anderson mission. For any of you wanting to try to take it out solo, I'm going to take you from section to section so you'll know exactly what you need to do in the builds that I used for doing it. Now I used, let me see, 4 different builds. Yes, I used 4 different builds. Now we'll go over the first build I'm using because this one we use in the first 4 sections of this mission. So let's go over that real fast. You can see it's just your standard protection from elite build. So I do have the chill out mask. It gives us plus 5% total armor rolled with max weapon damage crit chance into protection from elites mod, and that is what this chill out mask allows us to do, is to have 2 mods. Now if you wanted to go all blue with this build and be over 2.1 million armor, you can go ahead and do that. Me personally, I just wanted to have another weapon damage core just to give me a little more damage on these enemies. Now we are also using the everyday carrier, which is the named Bellstone chest piece, which definitely comes in handy in certain situations. Now this is rolled with max armor, crit damage, crit chance with a 12% protection from elites mod. And the talent is perfectly efficient. Using an armor kit has a 75% chance to not consume the armor kit. Specialization armor kit bonuses are increased by 100%. So yeah, with this in the specialization we're using, once we pop a med kit, we're pretty much invincible for about 5 seconds. I also have 1 piece of Fenris, which gives us plus 10% assault rifle damage for its brand set bonus, rolled with max armor, crit chance, and crit damage. And then I do have 2 improvised pieces, which gives us a mod slot, so I can get another 12% protection from elites mod on each one, both rolled with armor and crit chance and crit damage. Now, if you don't know how to get the improvised pieces, you just go over to your crafting station. Alright, so you just come here and go down to your knee pads or whatever piece you want an improvised piece on. And you come down to right here, you can see improvised knee pads. Just craft one of those and you just have to hope you get at least 2 of the right attributes. Like here would have been perfect. So we already have the armor and the crit chance, so just re-roll the headshot damage. I'm actually gonna keep that because that was pretty decent. Alright, so that is how you get your improvised pieces. Hopefully you guys get lucky like that and get exactly what you need on the first run. Unfortunately, RNG is unpredictable, so that may not happen. Anyway, let's get back into the build. And the last piece we are running is the Memento backpack. Gives us max weapon damage armor with a skill tier, a 12% protection from elite mod. Talent is kill confirmed. Any enemies you kill drop a trophy on death. Collecting trophies provides both a short and long-term buff, the first of which scales with the number of core attributes equipped and lasts 10 seconds. 5% weapon damage, 10% bonus armor, and 5% skill efficiency. For every trophy collected, gain an additional 1% weapon damage, 1% skill efficiency, and 0.1% of armor regen for 300 seconds. Maximum is 30 stacks. So once you get these 30 stacks, which will be pretty quick, I mean, you're solo in a master mission, you have a lot of enemies, you're going to have an extra 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen. And for any new players out there that does not know what skill efficiency is, it is basically every skill attribute in the game. So 30% of skill efficiency will be 30%, skill damage, skill repair, skill haste, skill duration, everything that deals with your skills. And of course, skill health, which will definitely come in handy with your shield. So yeah, it's always a good thing to have skill efficiency. Now on 5 of the pieces, I do have max expertise rolled on these gear pieces. Now The expertise for your armor really doesn't do a whole lot. Like if you had max expertise on every single piece, like I don't have any on my gloves, with the 170,000 armor, you don't even get to that with the expertise on it. So I mean, it definitely helps out a little bit, but it's not gonna make or break your build if you don't have max expertise on your pieces. Not like your guns where max expertise can really make a huge difference, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the skills real fast. We do have the Crusader Ballistic Shield. This one is at skill tier 6 because it takes in consideration your blue cores, and this is plus 60% active regen, plus 250% shield health, and plus 40% holstered regen. The expertise is 28% for the active regen. In the mods, plus 4.9% shield health, 5% shield health, and 5% holstered regen. And of course, gotta have that safety net. We do have the Revive Hive, and we do have that one skill tier, so it gives us plus 1 charge, plus 10% revive armor repair, plus 5% range, 5% drone speed, and 70% health. Does have 28% range for its expertise, with the mods 10% reviver armor repair, plus 5% range, and 5% duration. In the guns that I am using for this build, and you'll see all the guns that I use on my builds that are my main guns I'm using to take enemies out, are at 12% expertise. And the reason I do that, because obviously as an OG player, you know I'm gonna have the gun that has max expertise, 30% extra weapon damage on your gun. But the reason I do this is just so you guys can see you do not need the absolute maxed out guns expertise on your guns to get through this content. And 12% is what you can get up to without having to use any of your exotic components. So that's why I stop at 12%, because it's just the easiest that you can get to. And you know, like I said, you'll see in the gameplay, we don't have any problems taking the enemies out. Now, if you are someone that has max expertise, obviously definitely do that, because you're going to take the enemies out a lot faster. There is one part that is timed that we do switch up our build just for that reason, and we'll get into that a bit later. And the Saint Elmo's is rolled with max assault rifle damage, health damage, damage to target out of cover, and of course the talent Actum S. Shooting an enemy with this weapon will give 1 stack. At 100 stacks, the next magazine will be 100% filled with shock ammo. Now the secondary that we are using is the Banshee SMG, 12% expertise row, of course, max SMG damage, crit chance, and damage to target out of cover. With the talent measure, the top half of the magazine has 25% rate of fire and minus 25% weapon damage. The bottom half of the magazine has minus 18% rate of fire and plus 30% total weapon damage. And we'll go over the specialization real fast, because this is a specialization we're gonna want for the boss room. So I just, you know, put it on leading up to the boss room to make sure I have all of that special ammo. But this gives us plus 15% increased outgoing healing, 10% increased protection from elites. That's another reason we have it, is to get that extra protection from the elites. And then the med kit, which again with our chest piece definitely helps this med kit out. Armor kits now repair over 5 seconds instead of instantly, but also apply to group members within 20 meters. So if you are in a group, anyone close to you within 20 meters will also get healing. And I have used this build in a group before, and yeah, it works beautiful in a group. And with that med kit and the combination with our chest piece, we're pretty much invincible for that 5 seconds. Alright, and then group members get 10% bonus damage to targets with status effects, plus 50% pulse resistance, while in cover gain 10% skill haste, and gain 5 ammo per second for your current weapon while performing a cover to cover in combat. And of course, just make sure the guns that you are using is equipped on your specialization, so you're getting that extra 15% damage. So if we look at the stats, you can see our gun is at 55% crit chance, 108% crit damage. So it has some beautiful crit on it. If you want to go ahead and take a look at the protection from elites, we are at max protection from elites, which is 80%. And of course, this is a true 1.9 million armor build. All right, that is the first build. Now let's go ahead and go through those sections in the mission so you'll know exactly what you need to do. So for this first section, it's, really all you're doing is just taking out ads. So yeah, just come in here, take out all the enemies that you see. Now eventually you will get a prompt to come to the computer and to hit the computer, and you're gonna have to stay in this area until it gets to 100%. So you just have to stay right in here after you hit the computer. Just continue to take enemies out, standing in the circle, and just wait for that to get to 100%, and then it's going to take something out, up wherever. I don't know. I don't even think I looked at it, but it does take something out, and then you just continue to take the ads out, and that's really all this area is about. Just taking the ads out, hit that computer one time, continue taking ads out until they're all gone, and we move on to the next section. And that's it. Now, the only thing I will say, not just this area, but any area before the boss room, there will be, a random purple enemy that will spawn sometimes. So if you see your health go down significantly, that probably means there's a purple enemy somewhere, and you're gonna need to go and take them out as quickly as possible, because they are the only enemies that can, put some good damage on you. The elites we're not really worried about because we have that 80% protection from elites. In this next section, again, pretty straightforward. Just take out all of the enemies. They're gonna have wave after wave of enemies, and then eventually you will get a prompt to extinguish the fire. So when you get that, you're gonna want to run all the way to the back, which I'll show you where. Just run all the way back here, knock down these two doors, and inside there you are going to want to turn a valve. After you turn that valve, just go back to the front. I just ignore the enemies. I just run back to the front, and you want to shoot this on top of here, and that is going to get, the water to spray down and take out that fire. And then after that, it's just take out all of the remaining enemies and however many spawns there are left. And that's pretty much what this part is about. Now the next part is gonna get a little more complicated. So for this next part, we're gonna come in here and we're just gonna ignore the enemies. We're just gonna go straight over here because we have to go where the diagnostics is to hit this button. So we come over here, come all the way up top, and then we hit this button right here. So after you hit that button, what you have to do, you have to come down here, go to these electrical boxes. You'll see the one you need to hit is a one sparking. So you got to do that. Then you need to go back up and drop down one, because you're going to have to hit, one of these valves over here. And you're going to have to basically just do one after the other. So you'll see the valve you need to turn. It'll have steam coming out of it. So you turn that, and you can see up top, we're 1 of 5 because we hit that electrical box. Now we hit this valve, now we're 2 of 5, and you just repeat. Now go back down, find the electrical box that is sparking, and hit that. And again, after that, you go back up, do the valve, and then you'll just have one more electrical box to hit after that valve. And again, I'm just ignoring the enemies because this is timed. You can see the timer, and we still have a little more to do even after we get this last electrical box. All right, so after you hit that last electrical box, now we're gonna come over here and we're gonna shoot these things that are going to turn to where we need them to be. And they're gonna lock into place. After they lock into place, you're gonna have those 2 glowing eyes. You just need to shoot those out. and that's going to release the lava. So you just want to shoot the lava until it's dead. Now this is the part where that med kit with your specialization is going to come in handy. You pop that if you have a lot of enemies shooting you, and like I said, you're pretty much invincible for 5 seconds. And again, I'm just ignoring the enemies. I'm taking out my quick step so I can run as fast as possible. Go to the next one, rinse and repeat, because we do have 3 of them that we have to do within, you know, the time frame. But you can see we are definitely ahead of schedule, so the time's really not much of an issue with this. Alright, so after we get that last one done, it is going to spawn 2 bosses. Now, make sure you restock first of all. You want to restock, make sure you have enough ammo. Now, what a lot of people like to do, they like to go back up top, and I would recommend that for any of you newer players out there. Maybe you don't have the best builds. Go back up top. It is a lot safer to be up there and just shoot the enemies down from standing up there. You know, no enemies are going to come after you up there. Now the boss will shoot some grenades up there, but you know, you have cover up there. If you know, get in a sticky situation, just take cover, pop med kits, whatever you need to do, or you know, you could just run around up top. So yeah, now me, you guys know me, if you've been following my channel, I'm always running gun in the enemy's face. So I just went to the bosses and just, you know, well, all the enemies close range, take them out. And once you take the 2 bosses out, then you're just gonna need to take the rest of the ads out, however many respawns there are. I don't think there's that many respawns after we take the bosses out, but just take the enemies out, and that's going to do it for this section of the mission. All right, now the next section of the mission is just taking ads out. Honestly, I mean, you will have some heavies that spawn out, so you just have to look out for them. You know, if you pop their backpack, then they go down pretty easy. But this is just a lot of taking NPCs out. That's really all it is. All right, and once you take all of the NPCs out, you're going to need to shoot 2 electrical boxes. The first one is across the way through this window. You shoot that one, and then you come over here and you shoot this one out here, and that's going to unlock the door. Now for this next section, this is going to be the first time we switch our build up, and that is because this is the sniper alley, and the 3 snipers up top, they will one-shot you. Okay, so you want to be able to one-shot them first, and the build that we are using for that is a hotshot build. So let's go ahead and go over that build right now. All right, so what the sniper I am using for this build is the White Death, which gives us 137% headshot damage. I think the standard headshot damage is like 112 or something like that. So this just gives us, you know, a little extra headshot damage. So this is rolled with 14% expertise, with max marksman rifle damage, headshot damage, and damage to target out of cover. And the talent that you want on this sniper is determined. After killing an enemy with a headshot, the next shot landed on any enemy will be guaranteed headshot. So you just have to get that first initial headshot, and then every other shot is going to be a guaranteed headshot, which is going to be a one shot because of our chest piece, which is the chain killer. 5% for the brand set bonus. This is rolled with max weapon damage, headshot damage, weapon handling, and a headshot damage mod. All of the mods that we have are headshot damage mods. Now the talent is perfect headhunter. After killing an enemy with a headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 150% of that killing blow's damage. Damage is capped to 800% of your weapon damage. This is raised to 1250 if your headshot damage is greater than 150%, which obviously ours is definitely greater than that. So that is how we are one-shotting everyone after that initial headshot. And of course, the gear set we're using is the hotshot gear set, plus 30% marksman rifle damage, plus 30% weapon handling, plus 30% headshot damage. And then the 4-piece headache. First headshot with a marksman rifle will increase next headshot by 20%. Second consecutive headshot with a marksman rifle will give plus 10% armor. If at full armor, it will give bonus armor max plus 50% of current armor value. Third consecutive headshot will refill magazine. From the fourth headshot forward, the agents will get all 3 bonuses for each consecutive headshot kill. Missing a headshot will reset the cycle. And of course, the memento, which we already went over. And we keep the memento on because when you switch to another build that also has memento on it, you do not lose your stacks. So when we switched to this build, we still had max stacks for our memento backpack. We never lose them. And of course, if we want to look at the stats for our marksman rifle, you can see, well, we're just looking at the headshot damage, 277% headshot damage. We want the decoy on this build as well. So we want that decoy, and we'll go back to Sniper Alley now. So we're gonna put that decoy out immediately just so we can get the aggro off of us because we are, all red on this build. Anyway, we want to get that initial headshot. So I would suggest aiming for the shotgunner because he's the easiest one to kill. After you get that headshot, then everyone's a one shot. So just one shot all the enemies here. Obviously right now the snipers are not up there. They will not be up there until you activate the deal in the back. So we take these initial enemies out, then we come back here. Now you want to throw the decoy out before you activate it. It was still on cooldown. I guess I technically could have just waited, but I just went ahead and hit the button first, and then I came in. Then I went in cover, and then I threw the decoy. That way the snipers are shooting at your decoy while you are one-shotting them. Because again, like I said, if one of those snipers hits you, you are completely one-shotted. So we want to do that to them. Take the snipers out, and after you take the snipers out, then you're going to have a couple of waves of enemies. First wave comes out of this door. The second wave is going to come out of the left door on the other side. So just take these enemies out, and we're going to be switching our build again. But the last thing you do need to do after you take the enemies out, you need to go and get this fuse and take it back upstairs, and you have another button that you need to hit, and that's going to drain the water that's in the middle so you can get across it. The next build we are going to use, it's not for the very next part that we're about to do, but it's for the part after that, because the part after this next part is going to be on a timer. And you need to be able to take the enemies out pretty fast, because I think the first time I did it was just with my regular protection from elites build, and I killed the last enemy with like 3 seconds left on the clock. So I'm like, you know what? Whenever I do a guide, I want to make it as easy as possible. So I need to switch to a build that is going to take these enemies out a lot faster. And that is what I did with this. So this is the next build we are going to go over. Again, we kept the memento backpack on. So when we switch this build, we keep those full stacks of memento. All right, so with this build, these two pieces are going to be the same from the regular protection from elite build that I had on. So the difference on these two is I have the max 13% protection from elite mod here, and the other one on this one as well, the chill out mask with another 12% protection from elite mod. Protection from elite mod on my chest piece, of course, and then the striker. Obviously the striker is going to give us all the damage that we need to get through these next couple of parts. We'll go over the gear set real fast. The 2-piece gives us plus 15% weapon handling, 3-piece plus 15% rate of fire, and the 4-piece Striker's Gamble. Weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times. 1 stacks lost per second between 0 and 50 stacks. 2 stacks lost per second between 50 and 100 stacks. And with the chest piece, we do have the talent Press the Advantage, increase max stacks for Striker's Gamble from 100 to 200. 3 stacks lost per second between 100 and 200 stacks. So yeah, we're going to get plenty of damage to take these enemies out. This one is rolled with max armor crit chance, and holster, knee pads, and the gloves, max armor and crit chance. Now again, I do have my St. Elmo's that has 12% expertise. Now I do have the rock and roll, and I just have this to get stacks. So, you know, just try to max out my striker stacks as fast as possible. Then I switch back to my St. Elmo's and go to town. All right, and mods are the same. Crusader Ballistic Shield in the Revive Hive. And of course, the same specialization. Again, I already went over it. It's the exact same thing. So let's get back to these sections so I can tell you exactly what you need to do. So for this next part, it's just basically taking the enemies out. You're gonna have a few waves of enemies. You will have 2 sets of heavies that come out, and they are going to be pelting you with those grenade launchers. So you want to take those heavies out as fast as possible. But yeah, take the heavies out, then you'll have some spawns of regular NPCs. Take those guys out, and we'll move on to the next section. That's really all there is to this section. It's just taking the enemies out. There's no mechanics or anything like that. So let's just move on to the next section. In this next section, as soon as you open this door, there's going to be a 5-minute timer that starts. And there's really no mechanics in this section either. You just have to take out all of the waves of enemies before that 5 minutes goes out. And I mean, there's really nothing else to say about this part. They're just going to be spawning from a lot of different places. You're just going to have to take the enemies out, and I mean, that's pretty much it. And again, that's why I put this striker build on, because I'm just able to take the enemies out a lot faster with this striker build than with my regular protection from elites build. And that's just what we wanted in this area, is to take the enemies out as fast as possible while still having, you know, an all blue build. And yeah, that's really what this part is. Take the enemies out. And now we are going to move on to the boss area. Now at this point, you have your checkpoint. So if you go down in this area, it's all good, because you can it'll just respawn you right at this boss area. Obviously you don't want to go down, you know, you want to finish it as fast as possible. But there is another build that we are using for this. Now, the main reason I wanted this build is so we can have 100% hazard protection. That way we can get on the turret and use that water without the boss knocking us off. Because when the boss shoots you, if you don't have any hazard protection on, you're going to get caught on fire. And when you're trying to shoot them with the water, it will knock you off of the cannon. And a lot of times that's what is messing a lot of agents up, because they get knocked off the water, and you only have that water for a certain amount of time. And if you don't put the boss's fire out in a certain amount of time, you won't get that water again, right? And the boss will have so much damage decrease that you're gonna hardly do any damage to him. So you want to make sure and be able to stay on that water gun and continuously spray him. And if you need to, well, we'll get into those mechanics in a minute. So let's just go over this build first. All right, and so the build we are using for the boss room, we do have the same 3 that we have: the chill out mask, memento, the everyday carrier. Now the chill out mask is a different one, because you can see it has 12% expertise instead of the 30, because this one, I needed the one that had hazard protection rolled on it. So this one does have max armor, hazard protection, and 2 max protection from elites mods. Of course, memento, just so we don't lose those stacks. Again, whenever we change the builds and memento is still on there, we never lose our stacks. Okay, so we already went over the memento, we already know what that does. All right, then the everyday carrier, same thing. That med kit definitely helps us out in the boss room. All right, so the new gear pieces we have 2 pieces of Seska, which gives us plus 8% crit chance and plus 20% hazard protection for its brand set bonuses. And this one is road max armor, armor regen, hazard protection. Now obviously armor regen, I would rather have crit damage. If you have the perfect piece, then yeah, I would go with crit damage and hazard. And then on the knee pads, we do have max armor, crit chance, and hazard protection. Gloves, max armor, hazard protection, and crit damage. And the brand set bonus for this one piece of y'all gear is plus 10% hazard protection. So with that, we are at 100% hazard protection, which is going to allow us to either continuously shoot the boss without burning, stopping and patting ourselves down. And of course, the main reason is getting on the water and spraying him so we're not, patting ourselves down, getting knocked off the gun. We can continuously spray him and put all the water on him. And I think, because a lot of people say it's bugged. I mean, maybe it is for some people, I don't know. But the first couple of times I did it solo, I thought it was, but what was happening is I kept getting knocked off the water so much, I just wasn't able to spray him enough to completely extinguish the fire on the boss. And when you don't do that, then the water won't come back, and you're just gonna have to. You can still take the boss out like that. It's just going to take a very long time to take the boss out, because you're going to hardly do any damage to him. You're just going to be sitting there shooting him forever. Now, again, you can sit there and do that and take him out eventually, but you definitely want to, run this build so that you don't even have to worry about that. All right. And so the gun that I'm using with this build, wanted to use a gun that was going to get a lot of damage, and the backfire definitely does that. And with being 100% hazard protection, we don't have to worry about that bleed. Now this one is rolled with 12% expertise, max SMG damage, crit chance, damage to target out of cover, and the talent payment in kind. Dealing damage to enemies adds a stack of 2%. Crit damage up to 100 stacks, lasting 10 seconds. On reload, apply a 10-second bleed to yourself, which again, we don't have to worry about this second part of the talent. That's giving us a lot of extra damage with this gun. And secondary is a Lexington, 12% expertise, max assault rifle damage, health damage, damage to target out of cover with measured, which we went over measured earlier. So yeah. And then everything else is the same. Survivalist specialization, revive hive, and the shield. And if you want to look at the stats for this, we are sitting at max crit chance, 84% crit damage, and of course with the backfire, when we get those full stacks, that will be another 200% crit damage. So that will be 284% crit damage. But I'm going to go over this section now with you guys so you'll see exactly what you need to do. So when you first come into the boss room, there's a train all the way in the back where some enemies are going to come running out. I just go up to them and just start taking them down. Yeah, so there's really not much to this first part except just take the enemies out. They're just going to spawn all over the room. There's 4 doors. Well, there's 3 doors in front of you, and then the train where they come out of. You have a door on your left, on your right in front of you, and then the train behind you. So those are the spawn points where all the enemies are going to be coming out. So you are just surviving the waves right now. So take all of these enemies out. And after you do that, you're going to get a prompt to hit the water. So I'm going to take this last enemy out. And then you'll see the water that you'll need to go to. It will have that green light. So just go to that water, and you want to spray where the dot is right here. So if the water's on the other side, the dot will be on the other window over there. So just shoot, at the dot, and that will spawn the boss. And when you spawn the boss, what I like to do is take my survivalist specialization out and try to hit him in the head. If you can't hit him in the head, at least in the body, whatever, to try to break as much of his armor as you can. I try to get at least 4 shots on him before, the other enemies start spawning out. And usually on that 4th shot, get that 4th shot on him, then the enemies are going to start spawning out. And when that happens, you're going to have another prompt to get to the water. Well, it doesn't tell you, but you just have to be watching for it. So when he gets on fire is when you know you need to go to the water. And you can see he is not getting me off of that water, so I'm able to just continuously spray him. And once that fire is out the first time, we don't even have to worry about the boss right now. We just want to take all of the rest of the enemies out. There's still going to be waves and waves of enemies, but they will end eventually. So we want to take these enemies out, and then after we take all of the enemies out, then we will worry about the boss. We don't have to worry about the boss getting on fire again until we take a certain amount of his armor off. So if we don't worry about the boss, then the water, the water won't come up until we take a certain amount of his armor off. And I see a lot of guys stand by the water and they're continuously looking at the water, waiting for it to turn green. You don't have to do that, because you will know when you need to get to the water, because he will get lit on fire, basically. So when he gets put on fire is when you need to get to the water. So right now we're just running around taking the ads out. Now if you get in a bit of a pickle, where the enemies came out of in the back where that train is, you can run back there down the stairs, and it's just that little area you can stay down if you want to. I know that's what a lot of people do, because it's kind of safe down there. Now the boss will come to you eventually, but I guess if you just run back and forth, like once the boss gets all the way to you, you can run to the other side and continue to take ads out, and yeah, do it like that. All right, now we have all the enemies taken out. So now me and my companion, we are just putting damage in on the boss, and you can see the damage number are regular numbers. So he does not have that damage decrease. Of course, he's just got put on fire, so we need to run to the water. Again, like I said, that's how you know you need to get to the water. Water is when he gets put on fire, and he cannot knock us off. Now, if you want to pop a med kit before you get on the water, that would be perfectly fine. But you saw, with the build I have on, we got that armor regen, we were fine. But yeah, that's the last time you need to put water on him. Now you and your companion just needs to take his armor all the way down. And that's really all there is to the boss room. Now, sometimes you can get lucky and get into a spot to where the boss gets, I guess he gets glitched or something, to where he just stands there and he doesn't really do anything. You can just continuously shoot him. I didn't get that lucky on this one. I think maybe you have to be on the other side of the middle thing for that to happen, but it's all good. So we take the boss down, get the loot, and that's all she wrote. If it's your first time completing it, you are guaranteed to get that sheriff shotgun on master mission. So now all you have to do is just go out the front, because the mission will not be over until you run out to the front door. So yeah, run out there, get your new sheriff exotic shotgun, and enjoy, my friends. That is basically all there is to this master mission, a solo master mission. So hope you guys found this video helpful. If you guys have any questions about the mission, just put them in the comments and I will definitely get back to you. But yeah, that's all of the builds, that's all the mechanics, everything you need to know. And yeah, hope everyone is doing good, staying safe out there, and as always, my YouTube family, take it easy.